Today, we're going to be talking about race issues in D&D.
This video is about to get racist.
Specifically, elves. In D&D, why are elves who've lived over 100 years considered equal to humans who've only lived maybe 18 to 20?
Because of racism, obviously.
It has to do with the expected long lives of the elves, barring catastrophic ends. They will live to be thousands of years old.
Okay.
And even then, they will just fade to another existence rather than die of old age, usually.
Yeah.
Even if you did die of old age, there is no rush to do anything at all. You have ample resources due to the skilled magical abilities of your people, so you can choose to do whatever you want.
So you're saying elves are just lazy, is that right? That sounds pretty freaking racist.
For the most part. This is why you will find that elves are generally really...
So you're saying in the 18 years a human is alive, which like for the first 10, they're basically useless, okay? So in 8 years, a human becomes as useful, as skilled, as knowledgeable, as hardworking, as strong as an elf who's been around for like 2,000 years. Hello?
Really good at one or two particular things, but not super great at a wide variety of things.
Okay.
They might be real quick and nimble and amazing at archery, but have no idea at all about farming or water wheels or other things.
Who cares about water wheels? Hello? I need someone that's good at archery on my team, okay? And why the Adventure Guild, when they're hiring people out to go slay some goblins, they're like, man, this 12-year-old kid who practiced with a wooden sword, yeah, let's go send him to fight the goblins. And they see an elf and they're like, the frick you doing here, lazy ass? Get out of my sight.
In their time leisurely practicing archery, magic, and dancing.
Leisurely.
Their food is dropped into their hands by friendly plants.
Okay.
Or hunted in the forest, also practicing archery.
Wow.
Why rush to do anything when you have hundreds of years to do it in, if you want? Humans, on the
other hand, this guy sounds racist.
Have at best 100 years to get things done. In reality, particularly in the more dangerous D&D lands,
but humans could. They don't have to get all these. They don't have to build a bunch of water wheels. Okay, if humans wanted to go pick fruit and go hunting and dancing, they could. They could, but they don't.
40 to 50 on the good end. And you can't start really doing much till you hit 15 or so.
As an elf, you should feel offended, Chip. Yes.
Though most D&D sets starting age at 18. So
does that even make sense in a fantasy world? In what fantasy world? Okay, I get that in D&D, they say the starting age is at 18. But in any fantasy novel or fantasy genre, is that realistic? Okay. Because you know what? A couple hundred years ago, all the kids, they started working full-time jobs. They didn't even have schools and shit, okay? People just worked full-time jobs when they were like 12 years old, okay? So why is it my fantasy novel, my fantasy RPG, you gotta wait till you're 18? Hello? Hello? Because if I get isekai'd into another world, okay, I'm signing up for the Adventurers Guild at like 14. I don't care what you have to say. I do not care. Not old enough? Screw you. I'm gonna go pick herbs myself. And if the Adventurers Guild won't commission me to go pick herbs and sell them, I will just sell them myself, dude. I will knock on doors if I have to.
You've got 30 to 35 years to do anything you are going to do with your life. And you are going to get things done in that time as a species as a whole, particularly compared to elves.
Compared to elves? That's racist!
If, as a species, you have spurts of 30-ish years to get stuff done, things happen quicker. You need to figure out ways to do things that don't take 50 years of magical training to be considered adequate.
Okay.
So, you invent things to make stuff easier. Or, when magic is a thing, you seek out the fast, quick, and potentially dangerous route to power.
All right.
A new elven mage at level 1, fresh and ready for adventure.
Wait, is this why elves don't go sicko crazy evil mode? Dark magics? Is that why? Because they're too lazy? Is that what he's trying to say?
Has had likely decades of time spent learning and refining their power. A new human mage, on the other hand, has done things and pushed themselves to limits that could prove deadly to reach that same level of power in mere years. An elf wouldn't take the risk. A human can't afford not to.
So they use science.
I've actually extrapolated this somewhat to an even shorter-lived race,
goblins.
Sure, biologically they aren't that far off from human
Goblin D's nuts!
age ranges, but they are on the shorter side, no pun intended. Adults at 8-ish, old age death
goblins.
around 60. Combined with all of that, usually their lives
Goblins get to 60? Hello? They need to get slain, decapitated long before then.
much more violent and dangerous,
Okay, bye,
so they
Shut-Chip.
might make it to 20 if they were lucky or strong enough, and 40 plus would be an old goblin.
Old-ass
indeed.
goblin.
Now we have a potential society, if they are able
That goblin lived 40 years too long, bros.
to overcome some base problems that would function on an even tighter timescale than humans. They would likely progress as what seems to be a breakneck pace, particularly for elves.
They should have their
In
necks
my
broken.
family campaign, a tribe of goblins was shown what they call the Way of the Apple, and
The
have
what?
embraced a more agrarian, peaceful, and cooperative community.
Goblins can't be peaceful. Goblins deserve to get eliminated. And that's the end of that.
As such, in the short time since they began, they have embraced farming practices, trade with neighbors for
Wait, I'm starting to sound racist, yo.
goods, and advanced themselves significantly. The fast pace will inevitably slow down as they approach equilibrium with their surroundings, but they will likely have innovation and discovery slightly more.
Goblins are vile and dirty, okay? You should not be teaching them how to farm. You can't be living in peace or something like that, okay? Just take them out. Just take them out.
They're mostly human neighbors. One of the things in the lore that 5th edition didn't put in the elven blurb for the race is that elves reach physical maturity.
They're playing the long con, okay? The goblin's true nature is going to come out, and they're going to screw you over, okay? Don't do it. Don't do it.
about 25 to 30 years, but aren't considered adults until about 100 years. All
Okay.
because they have a certain kind of dreams about previous lives while they trance as children.
All right.
After 100 years or so, they stop having these dreams,
Wow.
signaling their real adulthood. This
Wait. Didn't put in the elven blurb for raise. So why is that not in the blurb? Huh? Does D&D 5e, do they just hate elves? They just hate elves. They just let everybody live out their little elven headcanon and nothing's legitimate, okay?
or so, they stop having these dreams,
Wow.
signaling their real adulthood. This, in part, because elves live
They're just delusional frolickers, forest frolickers for 100 years.
so long that they can put arbitrary extra specifications on what it means to be an adult. And in part, because those dreams will probably continue to mold and change the elf's personality until they're 100 years.
That's crazy.
However, from the above lore, we can conclude that a level 1 elven PC needs not be 100 plus years.
Okay.
It could just be 30. Young and foolish
Yeah.
enough to be equals with the humans and such, and throwing themselves into a gauntlet of trials to see if they'll survive it stronger without risking a century of being raised and taught.
Okay.
Not being an adult according to elves doesn't mean they're a child to be kept at home after all. Physically, they're old enough to go on an internship.
Okay.
Now, if we ignore the above lore,
Yeah.
which may no longer even apply to 5th edition possibly,
Everybody just ignores it, I feel like. They just don't care.
there are still plenty of reasons you could use to explain why
Bro, I ain't never heard nobody talking about their elf having crazy daydreams of a past life freaking changing their personality because they're not 100 years old yet. Nobody's ever said that before.
elves might be equal to humans.
Ever.
The elf might be the actual average for its kind, while human PCs are decisively powerful and well above average for their kind.
What?
When humans outnumber the elves 10 to 1, an elf's 1 to 100 talent can be equaled by the human's 1 to 1,000, and still meet as many human equals as they had elven peers.
Okay.
We use levels, but in practice there would be an average power to the average soldier.
All right.
The average human soldier is merely a CR 1/8 conscript,
All
and our
right.
knights are CR 2, while the average elven conscript might be CR 1 and their knights CR 5.
Okay.
Elves could be much more powerful.
As they should be.
Elves insist on perfection, spending a lot of time on mastering parts of the fighting style for elegance and perfection, while humans just learn it quick and dirty.
Yeah.
And in practice, that is enough, as
Stupid
dwarves and halflings
humans.
with their hundreds of years also aren't more powerful either, and goblins with a mere 6, and orcs with a mere 12 years can catch up. Many people have a peak that they at some point just reach.
Okay.
Not everyone is able of becoming level 20.
Everybody just plateaus out because they have to balance all the they have to balance everything. In the name of balance. Screw your balance.
Some sorcerers find that their innate powers only go as far as level 7, for example. Some artificers don't have the grasp to create more than the most rudimentary magical items. And some fighters don't become the kingdom's champion.
Yeah.
While elves can reach this peak more often and work through the diminishing returns, their pinnacle might be equal to humans.
Yeah, but it takes so much longer to get there. It's so dumb.
Elven culture might be such that elves don't actually get trained a lot.
Yeah.
Just because you live hundreds of
But
years
why,
doesn't
though?
mean you'll work or train hundreds of years. Human education is already scratching its head on how to fill 3 to 6 years of college with things that are kind of related to the subject matter.
But why doesn't an elf go to human college?
Try doing that for 100 years without...
An elf could go to human college, get every single degree if they wanted to, before they turn into an adult.
elves just dropping out.
They just drop out. They're just lazy. They're just lazy. It's so dumb.
Ah, that depends on the addition of D&D that you're
Oh, I'm not picking apples and sitting under a tree shooting arrows for fun. Guess I'm dropping out. Haha.
talking about. You guys like history lessons, right? By the original rules, you wouldn't actually have a human and an elf competing for the exact same job.
But why
if
not?
you were a human, you had 4 classes to choose from: cleric, fighter, magic user, and thief.
All right.
If you weren't human, you had 3 classes to choose from: dwarf, elf, and halfling.
Those are classes. They're not even races now. They're classes.
No, that wasn't a typo. Those were the
It's not racism now. It's classism.
classes to choose from. Races weren't a thing until AD&D.
What the fuck?
Elves and humans didn't have the same jobs in the first place, so there was no competition. Once first edition AD&D came around, races were finally a thing. And you could set a human fighter and an elven fighter side by side
Wow.
and compare the two.
Wow.
Most of the time, the human was the better candidate.
Of course.
All races were not created equal, you see. Humans could have a higher strength than
Oh my god, he said it.
any other race, and matched elves for every other score but dexterity. Moreover, all of the races had built-in maximums to their class levels, a limitation that humans didn't
And we
have.
all know strength is a more fundamentally busted stat than dexterity.
The rules actually state this disparity directly. Each racial stock has advantages and disadvantages,
Wow.
although in general human is superior to the others for reasons you will discover as you read on.
That's racist.
To summarize the reasoning involved, in the earliest editions, the big advantage that humans had over the other races was their limitless potential. Here, the shorter lifespan of a human worked in their favor. They were driven to accomplish in mere decades what an elf could spend a few leisurely centuries working on.
Of course.
To offset this,
Next thing you know, he's gonna say something out of pocket like Night Stalker elves. Dark elves are it's inferior. Okay, I gotta stop.
and to demonstrate
inferior
the
to
advantages
normal
of having
elves.
far,
Oh my
far more
days,
experience
dude.
than a typical human, elves and dwarves and halflings could learn 2 classes simultaneously, while humans had to learn
Okay.
one at a time and couldn't combine the 2 even then.
All right.
Long story short, if you wanted your character
That's
to wear
crazy.
armor and throw a fireball at the same time, it had to be an elf.
That's crazy.
This, I suppose,
A human could learn that if they wanted to.
made a certain amount of sense.
No, it doesn't.
Rules were meant to demonstrate that a man on a mission will always be better than a demi-human who has the option of simply outliving a problem.
But what about a man that's not really on a crazy mission? He just wants to learn stuff and he wants to throw. What about a man on a mission to wear armor and throw a fireball? Why can't he do that?
Conversely, a 300-year-old elf has the time to have 3 lifetimes worth of experience, one as a thief, one as a magic user, one as a fighter. The logic doesn't hold up well to scrutiny, but you can see where the original authors were going.
Yeah, they're dumb.
Later editions did away with the racial limitations. They also did away with the stack of advantages that demi-humans
They were too busy designing their game to think about the fantasy.
had over humans. and concentrated on game balance above all else.
See?
By 3.5, the only differences mechanically between a human and an elf were an put-down tug on 2 ability scores, a mild resistance to enchantments, and humans got to decide where their initial skill bonuses went. At this point, elves not being superior to humans is less of a given and more of a choice. Elves, as written in the rulebook, spend their time practicing leisurely arts and enjoying themselves. They took care of the whole struggling to survive thing by the time they reached adulthood. Your average elf, by the time they're old enough to start adventuring, has already spent a lifetime as the equivalent of a human courtier. And now they wander through dungeons and defeat dragons for funsies.
Wow.
Personally, my favorite take on elves is the 5th edition one. As of this writing, current elves aren't all...
Elf girls are hot, but they have to, everybody has to nerf elves, because if you're gonna play as an elf, then you're just a filthy role player, okay? So you get nerfed,
all that different mechanically from the 3.5 elves. But the 5th edition elves took the idea of every elf being a thrill seeker and ran it with a little.
That's crazy.
You especially
That is so not my idea of what elves are.
See it when you read Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes. Elves aren't better than humans at most things because they're too busy. Doing what, you may ask? Why, experiencing one-of-a-kind moments, of course. What else?
Yeah, all right.
You see, to an elf in 5th edition, swords tarnish...
They're all just thrill seekers, dude. Wow, crazy.
Rust away. Civilizations crumble, and anything anyone builds is going to fade to dust. Often in the span of a single elven lifetime. What doesn't fade is an elf's memory. Not only can they memorize an event, they can relive it in their trances.
No, what? No, they can't.
What elves do instead of sleeping. Not only that,
they don't sleep? You're capping. Oh my goodness.
Memories will carry over into their next lives as well. To an elf, memories are the most precious and permanent of the belongings. And unique experiences are more valuable than gold. Compared to that, a decade or two of doing the same thing over and over again is so boring as to be considered a form of abuse.
But they're okay with frolicking through the forest for an entire century. Yeah, all right.
Conclusion. Because,
you know, usually people are more of thrill seekers when they're younger, right? Not just, oh, I'm going to dance in the forest, pick apples, have my trances.
In the beginning. The reason for elves not being intrinsically superior to humans depends on the edition of D&D being discussed. The answers range from, because humans are automatically the best at everything, to the current and far more palatable,
least racist human statement made in this video.
Who wants to spend 2 decades being better than you anyway, buddy? I've got more important things to do. Hey everybody, Brian Von VA checking in after the vid. Please make sure to leave a like, subscribe, ring that bell, and of course...
I'm an elf. I'm too important to get good at anything, buddy.
Just leave us a comment down below letting us know what your thoughts on today's topic was. Basically, in my experience, go play Mass Effect 1 and read the first 2 books. You will learn a lot about why humans are considered very immature.
I have to go read Mass Effect, a space RPG, so that I can argue with myself about fantasy isekai tropes. Is that right? Okay.
To many other alien species, or in the case of D&D, other races.
So I can play Dark and Darker and rage to my chat. I have to go spend 100 hours playing Mass Effect and reading 2 books. Got it.
Because we're not that long living. We will die a lot earlier, so we have to get all of our stuff done.
I'm human. I don't have time to play Mass Effect. I'm human.
Really fast, and we have to breed to continue.
I gotta go to college.
A lot more.
And have babies.
Anyway, all the love to everybody. We'll see you next time. Please be safe, happy, and healthy. Bye for now.
All right, bye. Whatever. Good video. Good video. I'll leave it a like. Screw it. I liked it. It was a good video. No more chat abuse. I'm the one getting abused, bro. I'm the one. I'm a filthy RPer, dude. I'm literally masochistic. What do you want from me, buddy? Boom, chicka, boom, chicka, bow, bow, chicka, bow, bow, chicka, 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 bow, chicka. Subscribe.